All right, all right. We are live for another episode of Crossroads. We're talking about culture versus Christ. Listen, this is where a lot of things are colliding, and we're trying to see how do we exist? How do we not only exist, how do we thrive in a society today where there's so much pressure from pop culture, so much influence, and what we can take from pop culture, the good, bad, the ugly, and still operate at our highest and best use, and some things that we have to reject. So we just want to meet at this intersection at the crossroads to see how we're going to handle it, which way to go, where do we go from here. So my name is Joe Bullock, and I'm one of your hosts for today, and I'm here with my co-host Trail Ravenel here on today. So we're not going to tarry. We're going to get into the conversation. Trail, you want to introduce the theme for today?
Yeah,
Conversation started.
yeah, absolutely. So, hello, everyone out there. Super duper excited about today's conversation and just really about the conversation for the entire month. So, this month we are going to focus on unveiling authentic beauty, a black and brown woman. I'm going to say that again. Unveiling authentic beauty, a black and brown woman. Now, Jill, I know so many people have different definitions as it pertains to authentic. So I'm really excited to hear the perspectives that we'll share and the guests that will be on the cast this month, as well as our audience, what they will have to say about this. But today in particular, this topic is about how does the modern day woman or the modern woman compete with IG models in today's society? So how does we as, I don't know if we want to call ourselves, um, regular woman, or if you would, the everyday woman, if you would, how do we compete with what we see and what is being portrayed, what is being influenced to us through Instagram? So excited to get into that today.
Oh God. Yeah, before we do that, I'm trying to make sure that we are live everywhere we're supposed to be live. I'm not seeing it come up on Facebook. Are you able to see it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because I'm looking at the same thing. I'm like, why is it not there? It says we're live, but it's not on Facebook here. Oh, yeah, we are. I can see it. Okay.
Okay, maybe it
I
just
can
took a minute to
see it.
generate.
Okay.
So I know when we kind of talked a little bit about this before, and you were saying, you asked the question, are we competing? And do we have to? And this is my take on it, because I think that's definitely, let me try to share this real quick, you guys, if I can find it. And I'm going to answer that question. And I want to hear what you guys got to say. I see you live now. I want to hear what you guys got to say in the comments. Do you think we have to otherwise compete uh, today as women with other women, whether that's IG models, just other women in general? Is there underlying competition that's happening? Do we feel the need or pressure to conform, otherwise be a certain type of way? And y'all go ahead. I'm gonna give y'all about 15 seconds.
Well,
As
Jill, so it was private first, so no one heard the first part of this conversation. So I think we need to rewind just about 10 seconds and redo because it was on private and no one heard what we were sharing. So let's go ahead and do that. So hey, everybody. For whatever reason, it went private, and most of you did not hear the conversation or what we're going to be talking about today. So you're coming in now. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are around the world. We're excited about this conversation this month. We're excited about the topic today. So, as we all know, this is the month of March, and this is Women's History Month. And we're excited to be able to share different perspectives from different women, of course, myself and Jill. And the theme for this month is Unveiling Authentic Beauty, a Black and Brown Woman. Unveiling Authentic Beauty, a Black and Brown Woman. So every week we're going to share a topic that relates to that. And we want to hear from you. I know everyone, most people have a different perspective and definition when we talk about authentic. And we can talk about that today. What are we basing that on? What are we measuring that by? And today's topic is we're going to focus on how does the modern woman compete with IG models in today's society. So how does the modern woman, you and I, Joe Blow, if you would, everyday woman, how do we compete with IG models in today's society? And Joe was saying that I had asked the question, Why are we competing? Hey, Wanda, why are we competing? Why do we feel a need to compete? Why are we compelled to compete? And before you quickly answer that, because I know some people will say, I'm not competing, I'm just being myself and I'm just living my life. But before you answer that question, I really want you to reflect on your life, the things that you do day to day, the conversations you have day to day, the people you choose to be around day to day, and ask yourself the question, why am I doing that? Before you answer that question. So why do you feel that we as women of faith, Christian women in general, feel that we have to compete with the IG models and representatives that we see? That's the question on the table.
We're going to give you guys a few seconds to jot down what you think on it. And I'm going to, and I better get a pen and paper myself because I know I have like a million thoughts that's coming to my mind. And I don't want to lose track.
Okay, we got anything? Why are we competing? Why do we feel the need to compete with IG models, representatives that we see? And when I say that, from how we dress, how we choose to wear hair, how often and when we choose to wear makeup, just all the things, just the image. When we think about the image of what these women look like, why do many, if not most women, feel compelled to be like that? Or is that not the case? Is it not a compelling? I don't know. We're having a conversation on today and we'd love to hear your feedback and perspective on that.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump in on some of the things that I've been thinking about regarding this topic. Close covered. One of the things that kind of prompted this topic for me was I saw a video recently by one of these dating experts, as many of them, pick one. And she was mentioning that she feels like, and she wasn't rooting for this, but she just was saying, this is what the polls are showing informally, that there's not a lot of reward for the modern woman, because when we look at it, it does seem like our men particularly are gravitating, are following, are putting their interests and their attention, right? So attention is liking. When somebody likes somebody's page or following or whatever the case may be, they're putting attention, they're putting energy, they're putting focus. And a lot of times once somebody's focus, mind, and attention starts to go in a certain direction, other things start to follow. So with that being said, she felt like the modern woman wasn't being acknowledged like that, wasn't being recognized, or either getting any rewards. We see from Kim Kardashian on down, I feel like there is a pressure to compete and conform, because these, what you want to call them, IG models or whatever the case may be, people that have this, trying to perfect this standard of beauty, they seem to be winning. I mean, look at Kim Kardashian. She's one of the wealthiest woman, definitely in the nation, if not on the planet. And her whole thing was releasing sexually explicit tape that gained her a lot of notoriety. And it was understood, as I understand, at least the speculation is that it was all a plot, that was their way to claim the fame, knowing that if she got that leak in, that would be enough to, people to recognize her beauty, and they didn't care about any means necessary. So that was her way into break into the industry. And people joke and say she's famous for being famous, but they have built a whole entire empire. And I believe it's the cousin, niece, or someone is also a billionaire from it. So what we're seeing is seems to be a lot of success that is coming from it. But we get to go into that, because I know I don't want to get caught up in that, but I'm just saying, I believe this is what's contributing to modern women, Christian women, or whomever, putting effort and clout into that, because it seems to be rewarding. It seems like it is a path that's leading to success. And notice I did say a path, but we do still get to be careful, because and we really got to sit and figure out what is really important to us, because we can say success is, money and all of that. I was watching a video just recently, and the young lady was saying she was married to this basketball player, and he was worth over $60 million. And she said, I had all the money, the cars, the clothes, and everything she wanted, but she didn't have love. She didn't have integrity. She didn't have trust. She didn't have respect. So we really got to decide what is going to be our cost. What are we going to be willing to trade ourselves for? What are we really, you know what I'm saying? What's going to be the cost? But let me say one or two more things before I stop there. Pause that. The reason why we feel the pressure to conform, because when people see us, 90% of what we have on is our clothes. So we're being judged by our clothes, how we fit those clothes, how we're wearing those clothes. There's an instant judgment about who you are as a woman, how you take care of yourself. And it's so crazy because unfortunately, if you take care of your outside adornments, people think I don't know why we're so superficial that we think just because somebody looks good on the outside, come on, oh God, Holy Spirit. We think because somebody looks good on the outside that somehow this translate that they're a good person. Somehow this translate that they're a worthy person. They're a high value person. So we have put our clout in the wrong thing, but that's where it is right now. And so we do somehow equate somebody's outward appearance. And I think it's definitely something strongly rooted in the Black community in particular, that we've always had this way of trying to cover ourselves and overcome our trauma and our struggles through trying to seem more than we are. But I think we really go too far when we start to have more money on our back than we have in our bank account. And sometimes that is the case, that people are walking around literally with more money on their back than they have in their bank account. And I think that's definitely when we have a serious problem.
Absolutely. And Wanda was saying that she thinks most ladies want to be accepted. And Wanda, you're absolutely correct about that. Because when we look at Maslow's hierarchy, he talks about love and belonging, and more so of, you have to be in a place where you are fed, you have clothes, you have that simple need to be loved and to belong. We have to look at, even the need from a small child to now. A small child needs, wants, and desires for their parents to accept, to love them. And if we were to do a analysis, if you would, and look at the amount of women that struggle, and I'm saying this like in deeply struggle, have a chronic issue of accepting who they are without the mask, without the makeup, without all the things. And all of us love these things. So don't get me wrong. Jill and I have makeup on today. We have jewelry, we have these things. But the issue comes in when we need those things to validate who we are. So we were to take a look at 100, 200, I don't know, 1,000 women and say, okay, these are the women that struggle with self-esteem issues. Now let's look at how their familiar lifestyle or what happened when they were younger. What's the dynamic, or what was the dynamic between them and their parents? Were the parents present? If the parents were present, did the parents validate them? Did the parents, let them know like who they were and build them up and help to build their character and help to set them apart from the world? And we can begin to look at maybe the source, if you would, of this. Even though there is a lot of pressure out here, you still have to go back and look at the source, because there can be a lot of pressure out here and you don't conform to the pressure, right? You don't have to conform to what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is saying, how everybody else is dressing. As women, I think most of us have an innate ability or desire to look nice, and whatever measure that may be, and however you may define that. But we do like to look nice, but there is like a thin line, if you would, of me looking nice for my birthday party or going out with my girls, and every day when I leave the house, I have to be beat. I'm not going, I was talking to somebody today, and they were saying that they know someone that will not go outside unless their makeup is done. This person will not go outside unless their hair is done. What are we doing?
And you know what? It's been a long route of rejection and self-rejection. And it's really not even starting with us. And then I sometimes hesitate to go back to slavery, but that is part of it, because so much of our culture, our heritage of who we are has been rejected, and we have felt the pressure. And even sometimes, even thinking about what the natural hair movement is still within the last decades, and even in the last year, where regulation has been passed, where people can't discriminate on Black people because of their hair, because there has been such a suppression of certain features and ways that Black has been rejected and made to feel inferior. Now, granted, now with the BBLs, the butt injections and lip injections, now some other ethnicities, races, however, are starting to idolize and desire more of the Black woman features. But as far as the hair, even certain facial shapes, bone structures, it's like a standard of beauty that's been placed, and we find ourselves trying to conform. But I believe at this time, and I'll maybe jump in the conversation because we still got so much to go in terms of how to compete, because I do feel like we are competing whether we want to or not, because we're all pulling from the same pool. But I believe that right now, this is a good time for us to start a different movement. We already had the hair movement. There has been a little bit of a natural hair movement. But right now, I'm really going to be calling that we have just a authenticity movement, a movement of like our natural bodies, embracing our natural beauty, and really, and I hesitate to say natural, just embracing ourselves from the inside out and focusing more time and energy on building who we are in the inside. Because I'm gonna tell you, listen, one thing for sure, two things for certain. At the end of the day, all this stuff on the outside is meaningless. However, it's still something we have to work through. So we want to call a movement of people who is saying, I'm going to be committing to be my authentic self. I'm going to commit, whatever that commitment is to you. Like Charles saying, you don't want to do it every day, putting on makeup and stuff like that, because, and it's not like, oh, we calculate, you do it 80% of the time, you do it 20% of the time. We don't have to necessarily calculate your days and times and when you do it and don't do it. But what we're saying is the underpinning thing is, how comfortable are you in your own skin, embracing yourself, looking at yourself, and seeing yourself without all the superficial. Some of the things I mentioned in the trail, and I want to hear what you guys got to say about it. With so many things being impressed upon us, so many things have become like a standard. Let's just call it what it is. I'm like, I don't know if we can find a baby that's a female, a little girl baby, less than 12 months old, who does not have their ears pierced. It's like almost like an unspoken rule that by 6 months, thou baby must have an ear pierce, right? And I know for me, I used to be in my own world. I did not wear earrings until I got out of college. Fact check that. Maybe once or twice, but very rarely. And so we had that. We also, even with nails, I didn't even notice till the last 24 hours. You know, hear people say, don't even, nails are like the bare minimum necessity. So we have these things that's culture is pushing on us. And not to say just because it's pushed, don't mean you have to do it. I'm not saying that, because you don't have to conform. And sometimes that decision to go against the grain is the thing that gets you the most recognition, or gets you, or I don't want to say get you recognition, because we don't want to do it for recognition, but it helps you to stand apart, because people are looking for those people who are authentic, who are true and real to themselves, and not just following the crowd. We have become a society that we are just a bunch of followers, like following everything everybody's doing all the time. Now, Trell, I want to tap into one thing you were saying, because when we do feel like tendency to conform, there was something that you did. I start kind of like looking at different people to say, well, hold on. Yeah, all these people are winning, that's conforming. But you were bringing to the table, well, let's look and see who is winning that's not conforming. So how did that, what did you come up with that when you started looking at, say, okay, hold on. Because we're trying to say, oh, you got to conform. You got to have the standard of beauty, the makeup and the eyelashes and da all the time. Like, is there people out there? We know Kim is winning. Okay, Kim, you win. Well, at least in money. Emotionally, not so much. Maritally, not so much. I'll leave it at that. But it sounds like financially she's winning. So do we know other people that's financially, and maybe even other departments that's winning, that maybe aren't necessarily, that's more authentic or have a more natural version of themselves presented?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this again. And Wanda, I saw you say that comment. I'm gonna display that here. You were saying there's nothing wrong with wanting to be accepted, but the problem is the cost. And that's absolutely right. So I talked a couple podcasts ago about the pressure, and I've talked about this before, and I've even put a statement on my Facebook page, like the pressure to have to do all of that just to show up. The pressure for me to have to, beat my face, put on a wig or do something with my locks, just to share content. I have content, I have information that can literally, and that has literally transformed the lives of women, of wives, of marriages without me even doing a video. So are we more concerned about the transformation vehicle and the content, or how somebody looks? Unfortunately, society has made us to believe, and just a common theme as we see now, that if you don't look a certain way, excuse me, you don't get the followers, you don't get the likes, you don't get the views or whatever. People are just looking for this image, and it's definitely something that we have to reverse, if you would, or just bring perspective, because we want people to look good, but just bring a different perspective. So with that said, I started thinking to myself, like, man, who is out here? And the disappointing part about this too is that most people, even in the faith-based community, these people do not
Heavy.
show their authentic selves. These people are always dressed to the nines. They're always, it's just this image that they always portray, and people desire to be that. I see so much idolization that's happening. People are not listening. Some people are not listening to the pastor, the preacher, the prophet, or whomever, because they have a good word. Many of them are obsessed by how these people look. They're obsessed by how they dress and how they wear their hair. I see it even when the celebrity pastors, preachers, and teachers and people that are of status, they post content with a picture. The first thing they do, they talk about how beautiful the person is or how handsome the person is. I'm like, they're talking about you missed the whole message. They don't comment anything about what the person is saying. They're commenting by how they look. And that lets me know that we are at a crossroad. That let me know that we've missed it entirely. And we, as well as a lot of these celebrity mainstays, pastors, preachers, and teachers, and people that are in the spotlight, they need to start becoming more authentic. So all of that I was thinking about, I'm like, well, who is out here that is really showing their authentic self? Who is out here, not that you just jump on live with your scarf on and things of that nature, but who's out here like just being authentic, that will get on with a shirt that say, I got dope sister friends, maybe put on a little glasses and a little lip gloss and be okay with that. And I couldn't find anybody until God dropped someone in mind. I'm like, you know what? She doesn't do that. She does not conform. And then Jill and I started thinking about a few other, we only were able to identify a few other people. And these people more so are in the Christian faith. We identified a few people that are not, but we were like, you know what? They don't conform. These people do not, it appears that they do not care about what other people think. So I'm wondering if these small group of people, really are the people that have the confidence, that are not easily influenced by society, easily influenced by what other people are doing. And they're really doing what thus saith the Lord, and following that path and not following the path that everybody else is following. So, yeah.
And it was interesting. I was going to try to see if I can find it. I don't know if I can, but if we got any Bible scholars, let me know what it is. But I recall there being that, even like, I believe it was in the Bible. I want to say it's in the Bible. I don't remember reading it exactly. I just it was hearsay about, that's why even like in church, sometimes people wear robes and things like that, because they didn't want us to get, again, oh my God, look what look at First Lady dress. Look at Pastor suit. We get so caught up in the visual imagery of what they have on and don't have on, how they look and their style, that our focus and attention now is off of the word and onto the person, off of the message and onto the messenger. Which wanted to say, I tell my ladies at church all the time about me. What you see is what you get. Take me or leave me. Either way, I'm good. I'm not your typical Baptist first lady. I am who I am.
Absolutely.
Period.
And see, Wanda, that is good, because you could have easily fall victim into becoming the first lady, whatever, how everybody has defined it, right? Wear the suits and wear the hats, and you would have been extremely uncomfortable in that place. So I wanted to say that, because I you said that before, and you're a really great example for anybody that is a leader in church and standing beside their spouse in that way, to not conform to what everybody else is doing. The Bible only says that we are to wear modest apparel. And to your point, Jill, I don't know what scripture, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've heard that as well, that when the pastors get up, they should be covered. So you won't be concerned about their Gucci watch or Gucci shoes or, all the things, because we typically do that. Let's just be honest. Pastors are getting up there, Gucci'd out, you know, and then
Tailor-made.
tailor-made suits and tailor-made outfits and all tailor-made wigs. And you have people on the outside like, oh, I want to be that. People on the outside, I'm going to her conference because I'm going to his conference because it's really not anything. And I'm not saying that they're not good preachers and teachers. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the people that are watching, the onlookers, the prospects, or the spectators that are watching, they're more consumed by how people look and how people carry themselves. And that's on the outside, because you have no idea, to your point earlier, Jill, what's going on the inside. You have no idea how these people treat other people, how they show up in other spaces. You just hear them preaching, teaching, and prophesying on Facebook or at their church on Sunday mornings or at their conferences, but we have no idea how they're showing up otherwise. We should be more concerned about character, an individual's character, and how we see them treating other people than we are based on how they look. So it should be a difference there, and that the concern needs to, we need to reverse that or switch that, if you would.
And it's crazy how that translates in every sector of life, because yes, it can be talking about the pastor or the messenger giving a message, but it also, even in relationships, even as if I got singles on here, people dating, relationships, people in your workplace and all around, we got to learn to take one. So it's two parts of it. It's like what we are presenting ourselves as on the outside and versus the work that we're doing on the inside. And there's also other people, what they're projecting on the outside versus what's in the inside. And if we just invest half, hopefully more than that, but we should be, I would say we really want to go with like an 80-20 formula, which this is kind of the opposite of what the formula says, but you should be investing about 80% of your energy into building yourself up, your self-esteem, because really this is what it's about. Like Wanda said it from the beginning, it's about acceptance. A lot of us are putting too much time and energy in trying to be loved and accepted by others. But love and acceptance is a real thing, it's a real need. We all need it. And we do get to get that need fulfilled through other people. Got it. But what I do want to tell you is before we even look to anybody on this earth for that love and acceptance, we have to understand that love and acceptance is not just a physical thing. It's just not an emotional thing. It is heavily a spiritual thing. So first and foremost, if we align ourselves in such a way with God and root ourselves in such a way with our Creator and say, God, fill me up till I overflow. God, I know you love me. I know your son died on the cross to save me. I know you the thoughts that you have for my life. If we understand that God says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that that He knew you when you was formed in your mother's womb. He knows how many hairs you have on your head. And when you understand the magnitude, let me tell you this. Listen, God is concerned about you in your life, and he's looking after you. He's protecting you. He's navigating you. He's speaking to you through different means. So he's highly invested and cares about you. And so that's first and foremost. Right there, our acceptance and love tank should be pretty close to full. And then now when we go into the world to our parents, siblings, spouse, partners, and others and friends, we're not coming with an empty cup saying, fill me up, and looking for all these compliments and attention and validation and all of this from other people. We're already going to be pretty full, if not already full. And then when they pour in, it's just going to be the extra. And so we got to look at this. Like, how much are we craving for compliments and validation? How much does that mean to you? If you go a year without a compliment, are you going to be okay? I was telling the trailer Dave, truth be told, I probably go a year without a compliment and not even realize it because I'm not checking for it.
Not thirsty.
Not checking, no tallies, it doesn't matter. And I'm not trying to brag or boast. It's just I'm grateful that beauty and my looks has never been something that I've been concerned with. Even I never had people say negative things about my looks, but I just always felt that I was beautiful. And regardless of how you look, you should feel that you're beautiful. And even to this day, I tell myself I am beautiful. Sometimes multiple times. I didn't always do that. And I tell myself I love myself. I just do that to further build myself up to be even more, to build my esteem up even more. just for self-validation. And you get to do that too, because self-esteem, the key word there is self. Nobody can build you up. There's people that told you wasn't this, you wasn't that. And we find ourselves trying to conform and fit in. And we are really wasting all this energy, resources, trying to be something that at the end of the day is meaningless. And again, we're not saying don't do it, but we just got to say, how much am I going to allow myself? How much time, energy, money, resources am I going to put towards this? And at the end of the day, am I okay when I look at the mirror with no makeup, when I see myself and my natural being? Do I still accept myself? Can my man see me like this? Can I go on a video live without these things and still feel good about myself and accept myself? Because we got to get away from the self-rejection and have this movement of radical self-accepting your most authentic self that you're comfortable with, and go from there.
Absolutely. Hey, Julie, I see you came on. Wanda was saying how she said how when she was in church, she said, listen, I've been there. I had members buy me the suits, the hats, and I stopped that firsthand. Only one gift was genuine. The other one was people trying to change me. It's not me, and I would never wear it. And I absolutely, again, love that about you, Wanda, because you had that self-confidence and self-esteem and already that self-acceptance. And this is what that conversation is about here, us being able to have self-acceptance and confidence in the face of societal pressures. Because if the truth be told, there are always going to be societal pressures out here. There are always going to be somebody that, may think that you should have worn something differently or have done something differently. And to be honest with you, Joe, to your earlier conversation, a lot of our men, when we lived in San Diego, we knew that Black men did not date. Most Black men did not date Black women. They wanted what they felt was beauty or status or whatever their mindset was. So you didn't have a lot of Black couples. A lot of couples were interracial. There's absolutely nothing wrong with interracial couples. That's not what I'm saying. However, what I am saying is that because of this lie, because of this myth about beauty, because of this conformity, because of what we feel beauty should look like, and we've been entrapped, if you would, in this mindset, even our men are now wanting women to wear certain clothes and wear a certain look and wear their hair a certain way. They have this idea of what beautification looks like, what beauty looks like. Beauty looks like long hair. Beauty looks like nails. Beauty looks like lashes. So there's a lot of work that we have to do in holding our men accountable and saying, hey, listen, this is not what beauty looks like. And I will no longer allow you to put that claim on me or on us as Black women that we have to conform in order for you to choose me. I'm choose-worthy, if you would, without me having all the things. I can always throw on a wig. I can always throw on some makeup. But what I cannot do really quickly is change my heart. What I cannot do really quickly is be a person of empowerment and of change and of confidence. That stuff takes work. And those are the things that we hold other people responsible for and doing. So we this conversation, the conversations we're going to have for the month of March, we have to create a new standards, ladies. So those that are on here watching, we need you all to partner with us to create a new standard, to show by representation of how you're showing up in the world. Like, this is the new standard. I don't have to walk out with my face beat. I don't have to walk out, I don't have to walk out with any specific brand of clothing. I don't have to go get this surgery. I don't have to. And again, we're not judging anybody that do these things. But what we are saying is, if you are choosing those things over, if you're saying, okay, I will not feel, like Tia said last week, I will not feel loved until I do this. I will not feel accepted until I do this. I will not feel beautiful until I do this. So these are the subtles, because you may not be asking yourself these direct questions, but these are the questions in your mind before you make that appointment, before you do that thing. These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. If I don't do this, will I still show up? If somebody invites you to a networking event and you don't have the hair that you want, maybe your braids are 5 weeks older than you would like, will you still show up? Or will you be so self-conscious about showing up because you think that somebody's going to care about your braids and about your hair? All of the things that society has us thinking about. So we want to be in a position where we're overcoming our self-doubt about ourselves, how we think about ourselves, overcoming that spirit of comparison, and learning to embrace who we are. And we know that a part of this stems from childhood. We know a part of this stems from lack of validation, lack of love, lack of acceptance, right? So we have to deal with that too. So that may look like you going to therapy to unpack some of these things, and your therapist asking you the real hard questions about why. Why are you doing this? Why are you making these decisions? Why are you making these choices? And you doing the work in that area.
Absolutely, absolutely. You had mentioned it a few minutes ago, Trail, about we can't just easily change our heart posture. And so we want to invite you to think about like, and how can you turn more of your energy and work on this authentic beauty from the inside out, like the things of the heart. Like sometimes we see women and have been that woman, right? Where we look fine on the outside, but dealing with emotional issues, whether that's brokenness, bitterness, hostility, just being cute and pretty on the outside, but just have an ugly spirit. Yeah. Like, how can we spend more time getting our heart posture right, getting our mind right, renewing our spirit, healing any brokenness, diving into forgiveness, and really just being having this level of humility and really focusing more on that, and even figuring out what is that standard of beauty that you're going to be okay with. Right. And everybody has to decide for themselves. I know for me, I can say right now, where I am right now, I do like to keep my eyebrows a little cleaned up. I do like to keep a little something on my nails, and this is very recent because I just started doing this, and I really do this more for the feminine energy type of thing, just to exude more feminine energy. So what I said, I like to get a little something right here.
The eyebrows. Yeah.
Sometimes I like to put, preferably what looks best on me is the Bare Mineral foundation. Today I have on something else I've been wearing for a while, but I noticed with this, it always looks more pronounced like foundation. Bare Minimal, it looks a lot more natural, and it just helps to exude your natural beauty. So to me, those are kind of like my three. The eyelashes, I can kind of take them or leave them. I do feel like it definitely gives you a pop, but it's not a necessity. I find up those eyebrows, put that little foundation on, maybe a liner with gloss. That's usually enough. So we all get to figure out what that is. And two, I don't even have to have that. I'm okay if I don't. I do find this though, the more sleep I get and the more I take care of my skin, the more comfortable I am showing my skin. Like if I have had a rough night, only slept 4 hours, or had a couple of days I've only slept a few hours, and then I have more puffy eyes, then I'm like, dang man, my eyes don't look good. But the remedy is not throwing makeup on it. Let's be real. The remedy is better self-care. The remedy is, okay, Jill, you need to go to bed earlier. You need to go ahead and do that skin treatment or whatever other treatment to help enhance beauty. Maybe even fasting. I was fasting recently, and somebody was like, oh my God, what's going on with your face? You just have a glow.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes fasting is also one of the fastest ways to lose weight. Not that you do it for weight reasons, but it is a benefit that comes with it. But even like just fasting is a health benefit and a spiritual benefit if you incorporate prayer. That really can make a difference. And we can go from there.
I was even, getting around people that embrace that. Right. So if you are around individuals or constantly looking at these individuals, because one thing I said is you may need to get off a certain social media platforms. You may need to unfollow certain people when you're constantly comparing. When you see somebody that you automatically go out and buy what they had, or try to recreate that look or anything of that nature, maybe it's time for you to get around another circle. And that's going to embrace you. That's going to encourage you to show your authentic self. I notice when some ladies, when they get their sister locks, and I get it. I get the struggle, y'all. Because when I started, my sister locks were like 4 or 5 inches. I get it. And I wasn't used to seeing myself like that. I wasn't used to seeing myself in that light, right? So I was like, oh. But I'm like, okay, well, how can I still embrace this and probably put my hair in, even the small, tiny sister locks in some type of shape or form, to whereas I can still accept that, because I do love me. I love me. I love how I look. I love my image. I love my body and all those things. But seeing my hair go from, long hair or weave to 5 inches, That was like it was a bit much. I'll be honest, and people have different features, so I get it. But I had to learn how to love myself like that because I couldn't always put on a wig. I couldn't always have a protective style. And I'm like, I'm just going to thug this thing out. I'm going to thug it out. And then eventually, my hair started growing and started, giving me a different look and things of that nature. But I just accepted it. I'm like, this is me. This is how I look. This is how I was created. This is how I was born. I have to learn how to love her. Now I can add enhancements all day long, but I have to learn how to love her. And there's so many women that are not there. Getting back to my sister locks story, I saw so many women that were getting sister locks, and these things are not cheap. You start out I paid $900 and mine was 4 or 5 inches. And now, this is 3 years later. So you're spending $900,000 to get this style only to put a wig on, only to put a protective style on, right? And that's where we really have to look at ourselves like, man, I don't like me. I look, even if you said to yourself, this is ugly, or I don't like this look. Why? I want to get to the core. Why does that image not appealing to you? Why is that image not beautiful to you? You are a beautiful Black woman. You are a beautiful brown woman. And most of the people that are getting these styles, aside from sister locks, but are getting all this weave in their hair, they don't have edges. Their hair is not healthy. Your hair is thinning out. Your hair was not meant to be covered in that manner for a significant period of time. Granted, if you get a style, every now and again, but some people wear weave all the time. 27 pieces or some type of glue or some type of sewing. You have to realize your hair is constantly being pulled. Tension is constantly being applied to your hair when you're putting these things, weave, braids, and all these things in your hair. Your hair needs to breathe. Your hair needs to be let out. So practice telling yourself, like Joe was saying earlier, I am beautiful as I am. And I'm going to give you all some other tips before we leave here. We have about 15 more minutes, but I'm going to give you some other tips, some things that you can begin sharing with yourself, and to include getting around circles, to include, getting in the mirror. And my sister shared with us, she would get in the mirror with no clothes on, just to say, I am beautiful. I love me. And granted, if you have physical things that you don't like, if you need to lose a couple pounds or different little things that we all have about ourselves that may be like quirky or whatever, work on that area. It doesn't need to be surgery, but it could be, okay, I need to lose 10 pounds, so I need to stop eating sugar. I need to stop eating so much carbs. I'm tired all the time, so I need to work out. Different things that we can do that can enhance our beauty, if you would, from the inside out.
Oh man, Trell, when you were speaking, I just thought about this, and some people ain't gonna like it, ain't gonna be offended, but I just gonna say what it is when you were speaking, I was like, when the goal is to get the surgery or what have you, that is a reflection a lot of times, depending on the reason. If it's just, I just want to, have that cocoa bottle, there's a reflection of the values their values out of alignment. Let me say that your value is out of alignment, because you should be, how can I say? The highest level is to value your health, to value your temple, to value your body, and to have a healthy state. But we've gotten so out of alignment that we're idolizing a look and going for the appearance of a look versus, so we look like we're healthy, we look like we're in shape, but we really haven't done the work and create the sustainable lifestyle to maintain that. And I get it sometimes for health issues, or because people can afford to do it, they choose to use different types of procedures to help them with weight control. And I get it. And I know how hard losing weight can be. But let's just be honest, you guys, you ladies, the majority of times that we're going and doing certain things is not because of necessarily a weight thing. A lot of times it's really just about, I want to look like a Coca-Cola bottle so I can, look in the mirror or, be whatever, get more attention. Have this look that is winning right now. Say it's Cardi B, says what's the girl name? Kim Kardashian, says Nicki Minaj, and so many others. And a lot of them are, they do have beautiful, they are beautiful. But a lot of them was beautiful before. And let's be honest, many of them we don't see them without makeup. So sometimes the most Everybody is beautiful with makeup. Come on. Everybody's a 10. Pretty much everybody's a 10 with makeup. So, but if we stop comparing in that and us kind of going by our natural selves and learning to embrace ourselves, I'm telling you, and I've seen it happen before my eyes, women that the world would say wasn't so beautiful, because of their personality, because of their heart, because of the way they think, they became so much more attractive to me and to others, men particularly. So it is a real thing. And we get to learn how to exude our beauty from the inside out. A couple of things I'm going to say. I'm going to say this last thing and pass the mic, but this is what I want to say. We get to normalize natural Black beauty.
Absolutely.
Normalize natural Black beauty. And one of the ways, Trell, you was mentioning, you said we got to compliment more each other. So I want to empower everybody that's under the sound of my voice. When you see a woman, and we're not going to lie, if you see a woman with her natural hair, no beat, whatever, she's still well put together, she still looks good, like, oh my God, you got beautiful skin. Oh my God, I love this. I just love your natural look. Like, what happens is sometimes subconsciously, because we all have this Kim Kardashian, and I hate to keep using her, but just having certain imagery as the mark of beauty nowadays, when somebody's not that, we don't even bother complimenting them and letting people know that their real self is beautiful. So if we're going to be embarking on this movement, this normalizing natural Black beauty, then the way we get to do that is start complimenting and uplifting. And we do get to start repelling against the movement to conform. Like I said, I feel like they got me with the lashes, y'all. They got me with the lashes. I remember for years, I was like, I hated lashes. Every time a makeup artist would put it on me, I would take them off. I was like, why do you keep doing that? Like, I felt like I couldn't see. And then they start they start making them more modest. And then they, start doing individuals and then the magnet. And then they got me right now. But not to say I will always be gotten. But I'm just saying we get to just help to infuse it through our words and through lifting each other up. When you see another sister in her natural state, and that's a great opportunity to say, girl, I love your natural look. I love that look on you. And you'll be amazed how we can start a whole national and even global movement. And when men, because come on, that's who attention a lot of times we're trying to get, right? Especially for my single women. And even married women, you want to keep your man's attention, okay? So what we do is when we start to invest more in our intellect, when we start investing more in our spiritual masteration, our intellectual masteration, and our emotional masteration, when we start to put more time and energy on having a smile on your heart and on your face than about whatever, I'm telling you, you're going to start becoming and start seeing that it's not so much the makeup, it's really your spirit. I mean, makeup may catch some eyes. I'm like, being cute and all that, it's going to turn some heads. But when you start having a conversation and you know what's happening in today's society, you're abreast on, the latest things, and you're just aware, and you've been working on yourself, whether it's your vocabulary, you've been reading, you're well studied, you're a woman of faith. Yep. You have faith, and not just believe in God. Like you have learned to feel the fear and do it anyway. You're operating in a spirit of believing that God is going to work everything out for your good. You're not under that the spirit of anxiety and fear and worry and concern and trying to hold on and grasp things. You just free to be me. And understand that God got you. I'm telling you, these are the things that's going to make you the most attractive. But somehow we've got out of alignment. And I want to appeal to everybody. Let's start this normalizing natural Black beauty from the inside out. Wearing a big, beautiful smile on our face and our eyes, and just be in love. Like, let that be the mark of what attracts people to us.
Absolutely. And you'll find yourself when you do compliment those women, like you can tell, I feel like I sometimes can tell when a woman, she has her natural hair out and she may not feel as confident, but she's trying. And in those moments, Holy Spirit would have me say to her, oh my God, you are so beautiful. And it is absolutely correct. You are so beautiful. And she would just like, oh my God, thank you so much. So I love that practice. And a few other things I want to share really quickly because we have about 7 minutes here. Another thing we can do, Jill, is just practice self-compassion, right? Be more kind to ourselves, treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a friend, and acknowledging the strength that we have, the achievements that we have outside of our looks, acknowledging our self-worth and our value, our internal, intrinsic, which is internal value. What is it about me that makes me outside of my hair, my makeup, my clothes? Granted, we like to look nice. I always say I like to put clothes on. I'll be the first to tell you I like to put an outfit on. You hear me? But not at the expense of my wallet, not at the expense of my values, right? Not at the expense of me. It has to be, it has to be within reason. And I have to create some boundary and time and space for that. So number one is practice self-compassion. Number two, define our own beauty standards. And that's what Jill is sharing. That's what we are sharing. We want to define our own beauty standards. We have to start challenging the norms, societal norms, and define beauty on our own terms. Right? Embrace our little things. I have several little quirks about me that I did not like, that I would talk about and that I would mention, but I just learned to embrace things about me. I have a little extra piece of fat here. I have a little, my nose may be bigger, or my lips may be bigger than others, my ears or whatever, but who's to even say that is bigger than, right? This is who I am. So rather than us, looking at ourselves and like, ooh, I don't like that, or ooh, I have, puffy eyes, because I've said that to myself as well, because sometimes I don't get enough sleep. I wear glasses and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. But you know what? I'm going to work anywhere. And I did. I didn't put makeup on. I didn't put anything, because this is what it is. I didn't get any sleep. I have bags. Let's go. The remedy is much deeper than that. Number three, cultivate positive self-talk. Like I was talking about earlier, talk to yourself. Pay attention to what is that internal conversation that I'm having with myself, and replace that negative self-talk. Something we talked about a long time ago, ants, automatic negative thinking, or automatic negative thoughts. When you're constantly thinking the negative before the positive, let's start singing positive affirmations. I love my hair. I love my smile. I love my teeth. I love my body. I love my booty. Even may not look like a BBL. I love my booty. And start with this kindness that we can show toward ourselves. Number four, as I was sharing earlier, surround ourselves with positive influences. I saw you, Julie. You said you had to change your environment. And sometimes that's what it takes. So we're hanging around a lot of fake people. Let me say that. A lot of people that make up themselves to look fake, like literally, and they have no authenticity. And I'm saying this about the people that that's jacked up, but they're going to put they're going to make themselves up to hide. It's a mask. Undoubtedly, like, this is a mask. That person struggles with self-esteem. That person struggles with all of these other areas, but they put on a mask. Those are probably not the people you want to hang around. You want to hang around people that are confident within themselves, and that's going to help you to boost your confidence as well. Something else we said here, number five, practicing self-care. Practicing self-care. Prioritize your self-care over everything else. So that may be exercising, that may be meditation, that may be journaling, that may be just spending time outside, that may be hanging out, with a girlfriend that's going to speak into you or empower you. We need to practice those things. And the last thing I'm going to say is just step out of your comfort zone. Challenge yourself to try new things that you haven't experienced before. That's going to help to boost your self-confidence. That's going to help discover who you are, what you like, what you don't like. And then one more thing, I'm sorry, is seek support. Seek support. That can be a family, that can be a friend. And I said earlier, that can be a therapist. Many of us need to go to therapy. We need to have a conversation with someone that will be able to help and assist us navigate through these challenging areas about our life. Talking to the therapist, like, why do I feel like I need to do this? Let's talk about what may have happened or did not happen when I was a young child, things that I may have been exposed to, or even now, why do I feel the necessity to be like her or to do what she is doing? Some people spend money trying to keep up with other people, money they don't have, cash and checks that's going to bounce, taking rent money, mortgage money, car note money. People are buying cars that they cannot afford. Like, what are we doing here? Why have we come to this place, and why are we accepting this versus challenging the status quo? So those are the things that I would leave with everyone on today.
That's good, Trail. And I love that you kind of started tapping into the financial, because that's where I want to go with this as we wrap up. I want to encourage you to get your priorities in order. Really take some time. You may need to take some time to write down what's most important to you. What are your values? Why do you value those things? From whether that's, your family, your finance, if your health, what do you really value? And then I want you to say, is it reflective in your bank account? What you say you value is reflective. If you say you do value being wealthy, do you have the proper savings and things set up? Or are you spending a significant amount of your wealth in beauty things? And honestly, that's why for a long time, I wasn't doing a lot of things. I mean, I wasn't doing, that's why I didn't do my nails. I just felt like it was an extra expense. I personally like my hair the best short. Just sometimes I'd be kind of like, okay, I don't want a short hair or whatever the case may be. But I feel like I'm most beautiful with very, very short hair. So sometimes that might surprise you. But let's get to sticking to your priorities. Get your priorities in order. Listen, money answers all things, and we got to be very good stewards of our money. And I'm saying all the stuff we're talking about, we can easily spend $300 to $700 a month between clothes, and jewelry, makeup, hair, you name it, easily. And so I want to embark upon you, even if you're indulgent, do it wisely. You don't have to go to the nail salon and get an $80 nails and $100 nails and toes. Maybe just say, let me do my own pedicure at home. I'll just have them do a polish change. Now, they're still going to charge you about $20 on the polish change on the toes nowadays. But then if you do that $20 for the polish change at home, at the salon, you did your own pedicure, and then you can go get some press-on nails from $1 to $10 most places. The dollar store have them, and the dollar store nails last for a long time too, okay? And they're cute. And nobody know they're from the dollar store but you, okay? And it also saves time. Some of you may or may not know that my word this year is stewardship. And what God spoke to me, and I believe when he speaks to me, he's speaking to the people of God. He's saying that we get to be better stewards of our gift. We get to be better stewards of the finances and for the other relationships that we have in our lives. And so we got to think about that. Am I going to spend $150, $200 on nails and toes? Or am I going to go get like 3 packs of these nails, wear these for 7 to 10 days and call it a day? And even on Amazon, you can get them for closer to $5 to $7. So that's one thing to think about. There's different lashes, even with the magnets, if you decide to do that. Or even sometimes mascara still works. Mascara, actually, believe it or not, it still works. And it actually does enhance our beauty as well, if that's something we're looking to do. Also with designer purses, we didn't talk a lot about that, but this is one tip that I wrote down. Listen, wealthy people be buying knockoffs. Don't play. Like a lot of times I wouldn't, I know for me, I have a budget on how much I'll spend on purses, but sometimes getting a nice designer knockoff does the same trick as having a high-end purse. And if you feel like you really do want, quote unquote, the original thing, I would say only buy it on sale. The other day, I know Macy's had purses that were like $200, $300, $400 on sale, 50, 60% off. So that's a good time to plan your spending and do it when things are on clearance. So again, you're not depleting all of your wealth trying to wear a designer bag or whatever the case may be. And you may genuinely like and want it, and that's cool. But like, do we have to pay full price? I'm just asking for myself. And my answer is no, we don't. So those are some of the things you get to think about in other ways. And even with your hair, you may say, okay, I'm gonna stretch my hair to 3 weeks rather than getting it done every 2 weeks. Or maybe there's something I can do to wear my hair natural or do it myself. So anyway, we just kind of want you guys to think about that, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure you're keeping your priorities in order and focusing on normalizing natural beauty from the inside out and working on your heart, your mind, your emotions, your intellect above spending so much time, because we can spend hours and hours and hours beautifying ourselves as well. And at the end of the day, we just look good. But are we good? Are you good?
Listen, that's a word for the people. So listen, you guys, this is going to wrap up episode 3. Thank you all for joining. We still want to hear from you. So continue to comment, even under this podcast. Continue to comment, send in your comments and things of that nature. We want to hear from you. And we are going to be here next week at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if there are topics that you all want us to talk about, anything you want us to engage in, definitely let us know, and we will be sure to consider your input. So thank you so much. Thanks, Wanda. You're welcome. Appreciate you jumping on today. Awesome. With that being said, you got anything else?
That's it. Thanks, you guys.
All right.
Keep your priorities in order. Let's get this. We got it.
Let's get it. Normalizing beauty in Black and brown women. All right. Bye-bye.